Welcome to our first webinar in our financial wellness series called Building a Budget. Today we're going to talk about how to take control of your money to reduce your stress and then improve your financial well-being and overall well-being. My name is Julia from the Health Management Department at Health New England, and when we talk about budget today, we'll be learning what a budget is, how you can succeed at building a budget, and even give you some tools to get started. We'll open with a question, a true or false question. So the statement is, you need a financial advisor to create a budget. What do you think? That is false. That is not true. By gathering your financial information, you can easily create a budget on your own. You don't need an outside person to tell you how to do that. It might help to get their insight if you want to go further with investments and so forth, but just figuring out what you are intaking and what you are spending, you can do that on your own. And as a matter of fact, we're going to go over the steps on how to do this. So what is a budget? Well, budget is a planning tool that helps you make the best use of your money. It's a way to control your money and not let it control you, which is really easy to do. It's written, so whether it's on a piece of paper, in an app, in an Excel spreadsheet, whatever works for you, it is a written record of money that flows in and out of your household monthly. So whether that's personal to you, as a family, whatever is coming in and out of your household. It's also a way to balance income coming in and expenses being paid out. So I mentioned expenses, and we're going to talk about two types of expenses. Expenses are whatever is coming out of your household. So essential expenses are the ones that you need for daily living. They're essential to your livelihood. There are fixed essential expenses which don't usually fluctuate, and then there are variable essential expenses which can change depending on how you use them. So a fixed expense would be something like your mortgage or your rent, car payments or transportation. Student loans are usually a set amount that you pay per month, taxes, and insurance. So whether that's car, home, or health, they can sometimes fluctuate after a year or two, but usually you can count on them being the same within the same year. Variable expense are things that you can change or that may change for you. So how much you spend on food depending on who lives in your household or what you are buying or where you're going grocery shopping. Car maintenance, you might have a year where all you are spending is money on oil changes, which is great. And then you might have a year where something goes in your car that's a big expense. Utility bills can go up and down depending on your usage and the rates. Gas is always fluctuating. Childcare, depending on who you have in childcare or where they are attending. Healthcare, and this means doctor's visits, deductibles, co-pays, that type of thing. And holidays. How much are you going to spend for birthdays? How much are you going to spend for certain holidays on others or on yourself? Then we have non-essential expenses. So these are things that you don't need to survive, but they make your life a little bit more comfortable. We might think we need them to survive, but they're just there to make our life a little bit more comfortable. So this includes dining out, whether it's restaurants or grabbing that cup of coffee in the morning, takeout, whatever it may be, if it's not grocery shopping. Entertainment, going to a movie, renting a movie, concerts, sporting events, that type of thing. Recreation, I think of ski passes or something along those lines. Non-essential shopping, you already have 9 pairs of shoes, you want a 10th. So it's not something you necessarily need in the moment. Vacations, whether you're going to take one or not, where you will be going, how many people are going with you. And credit card bills are also another red flag if you start to not being able to make the minimum payment or paying them off every month, that you might be making more non-essential purchases than you can actually afford. So we'll take a look at that. Alright, so we're going to dive into some numbers here, some statistics. So we ask ourselves, okay, a budget is great, but why do I need to have one? Can I live life without a budget? Well, when we defined budget, we said it was a way to manage income and outgoing expenses. So creating a budget allows for financial successes and to avoid debt. But why does this even matter? Let's look at some statistics in America. So these are all results from a 2013 survey by Financial Health of America by Wells Fargo and also a 2012 study done by FINRA, who regulates the security industry. And what these studies show is that 40% of Americans do not have an emergency fund, which means they don't have 3 months saved of bills that need to be paid, those essential items being paid for. They don't have anything to back themselves up in case something happens, like the loss of a job. 73% are not satisfied with their current financial situation. 13% have been late on a mortgage payment more than once. 14% have taken a loan from their retirement. 22% have paid overdraft fees in their lifetime, and 59% carry balances on a credit card with at least 18% interest. 42% believe they have too much debt. And looking across the board, independent from income, race, or education, at least 30 to 60% engage in expensive credit card behaviors, whether that's carrying a balance or charging more than you can pay. That is a wide range of people. A study from 2014 from the Federal Reserve Board showed that 31% of Americans have no retirement at all. So potentially could not even retire unless they made changes. What are all these numbers showing us? That money can cause stress, and financial stress can result in even more stress. We focus a lot on our physical health, how much we should eat, how to exercise, but it's important to focus on financial and mental health too. So financial stress can lead to a lot of negative outcomes, including your loss of a job, because a lot of times jobs will look up your credit score before they hire you. You may have to file for bankruptcy. There's a huge disruption in your family. One of the top reasons for divorce are money-related issues. It can cause absence from work and the inability to secure your future. So you will not be able to retire, or you might be living with debt for a very long time. So we need to set up a budget in order to avoid these statistics for ourselves. And as a result, decrease stress and really increase our overall well-being because we have financial peace. Now that I've convinced you that having a budget is really important, how do you get started? So when or how you get started, whether you're fresh out of college, it's your first job, you're in your 40s and you've never had a budget, it's not too late. It's never too late to start a budget and start working on that financial piece. And when you first sit down to try to make your budget, be prepared that it will take some time. So allow yourself some time to sit down and really look at all your expenditures and income. So the first thing you want to do is take a period of time, at least a month, to track everything you spend. You don't even necessarily have to make any changes at this point. You just want to see what you commonly spend your money on. This shows the whole picture, allows you to see all the bills that might come in, since they usually come at least monthly, and opens your eyes to maybe things that you never realized you spent so much money on. So after you tracked everything, you want to sit down, and that's when you start to create your budget. So the first thing is to estimate your take-home pay. So look at the net amount, this is after taxes, of what you're going to get in your pocket on your pay slips. How often are you getting paid, and so forth. If you aren't salary, or if your pay is unpredictable, just use the average you have had coming in, or maybe what you typically make at this time each year. Get out your bank statements, any non-wage income as interest, dividends. Look at revenue sources, maybe child support, disability, gifts that you routinely get. Look at everything that you have that's coming in. You can even take this time to evaluate what you may have in your savings or 401k or retirement plan, just to know what you have, and then therefore if you do make any budgetary changes, you know what you can add to. Next, you want to calculate your bills or expenditures. Include everything. That's what you tracked during that month-long period for, is to open your eyes to things that you might not realize that you were spending your money on. Include all your typical expenses, mortgage payments or rent, car loans, transportation costs, utilities, child, parent care, food, clothing, education, medical bills. You get the idea. Everything. Anything you owe, whether it's variable expense or fixed expense. And I know I told you to track for at least a month, but when you are looking at your budget, you want to look at the whole year, because we all have seasonal expenses like holidays or vacations that we want to make sure that we include in there. This may take more time than calculating your income because there are a lot of things to think about. After you have all that information, you're going to add it all up, add up all your income, add up all your expenditures, and you're going to subtract the expenditures from your income or your revenue. Here you're going to see if you have a positive balance or a negative balance, and we will talk about what decisions need to be made when you see your balance. It's really important when you do these steps to be realistic, even if that's hard. That may mean adding that you spend $20 a week on coffee, or that you buy your dog a new toy every week, or shop for clothes a lot more than you thought you did. This is the only way that you can truly make a budget that works for you. So what do you do with the results? You have your income versus your expenses. If you have a surplus, which means you have a positive amount or you make more money than you have expenses, then you want to decide what to do with that. Experts recommend paying off debt, setting a goal of saving at least 10% of your earnings, and having at least 3 months' income set aside for emergencies. But if you have a deficit, then you need to cut expenses. So the first thing to look at are those non-essential expenses: shopping, entertainment, etc. What can be cut out of those expenses? Next, you might want to take a look at your variable expenses. These are things that you need to live, but they can be adjusted slightly. So maybe you're not shopping at an expensive grocery store anymore. You'll maybe go to a discount grocery store. Not be the one driving your friends everywhere, saving gas that way. Those are things that you can look at as well. The third thing you may need to do is increase your income. This might look like a part-time job or something along those lines. Once you see your numbers, it's time to set some goals. So the first thing you want to do is make something a SMART goal. So this stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. For a financial SMART goal, a bad goal would be, I want to be debt-free. Is that a good aspiration? Sure. But that goal is very general. A good SMART goal would say, I want to pay off my credit card balance of $1,000 by December 31st by paying $100 a month. You're being specific. You're telling how much. It's definitely achievable and realistic if you have it built into your budget. And you're giving yourself a deadline or a time frame. And like with any goal, write them down so that you are committed to them. Maybe post it somewhere on the mirror when you get up in the morning so that you see them. It helps keep you accountable. We talked a little bit about savings, so another goal that you should set is, how are you going to save? There are a lot of tools that you could use that will help you. So whether that's something like setting up payroll deductions at work, having automatic bank transfers, or taking advantage of your workplace retirement plans, these are all automated systems that you don't even have to think about saving, they just do it for you. Once you pay down any existing debt, this is definitely something that you want to get started. That is the basic way to make a budget, but we have some other tips too. So the first one is to focus on savings versus spending. So if you have that surplus, you want to think about your priorities. Put off buying those unnecessary items that you want today and dedicate that money towards a future dream purchase. See if you can top how much you've saved each month, month after month. Now, when you make some cuts, make wise cuts. Evaluate your expenditures by listing them in order of priority. So again, prioritize what is important to you and determine which purchases can be eliminated or reduced. Rethink big ticket items like home remodeling or something like that, and make sure they are really necessary and that you can get the best return on your investment. Next, document every transaction. So this goes along the lines with tracking what you do. Create a system or file or organization where your revenues and expenditures can be seen. Some people like to use an envelope system, some people use a checkbook, some people just use their online banking, whatever works. You could consider buying a ledger sheet to record these transactions, set up a filing system with plastic trays, you get the idea. So file all your receipts and bill stubs in different categories, even if you're using electronic ways to track. Next is to computerize your efforts. So consider buying a financial management program. that can lead you on the steps of building a budget and even going further than that. Sometimes you can even scan in receipts or something along those lines. It can help you log every transaction, track your savings and expenditures easily, and balance your accounts electronically through your bank. Your bank might even have a service like this too, so reach out to them. Next, you want to monitor your budget on a monthly or weekly basis. So you've set up your budget, you did a great job looking at everything, a lot of hard work. You want to make sure it continues to work for you. So check that budget regularly to see if you're on track and to keep you motivated. Compare the amounts spent on the amounts budgeted and adjust your spending habits accordingly or adjust your budget accordingly. Predetermine your withdrawals. So before going to the bank or cash machine, you want to know exactly how much money you're going to withdraw. So make this money last a designated period of time. Write checks to yourself for different expenditures and try to stay within those amounts. Next, you want to pay off your credit card balance each month. Not pay the minimum balance, pay off the balance. So when using credit cards, sometimes it's beneficial because you'll get points for certain things, but that is a slippery slope if you're not careful. So make an entry in your financial statement or checkbook or whatever you're using to log your transactions for each individual charge that you make on your credit card. This will prevent charge card bills from catching you by surprise because you didn't even realize how much you had accumulated. Then you might not have enough cash in your bank account to cover that balance. Lastly, be a team player. So this isn't all about you. Like I had mentioned before, if you have a family or other people that you are considering in your budget, confide in them. Confide in your spouse and have your spouse follow these procedures as well, or make the budget with them so you are on the same page. Once you've created a budget worksheet to properly deal with your financial situation, you will enjoy greater peace of mind knowing exactly how you have spent your money and that you can trust your partner to do the same. Staying within your budget may not be easy at all times, but the right discipline and commitment, you should be able to stay on course, and it's a lot easier if you have someone helping you or encouraging you or being on the same page along the way. So you've created your budget, you've been living by your budget for some time now. Don't forget this last step. You want to continue to revisit your budget. So expenses, income goals, and priorities will change in life. An income might decrease or increase. You might have a child or a pet that comes into your family. You always want to reevaluate based on your lifestyle, whether that's weekly, monthly, every few months, whatever works for you. You want to continue to kind of come back to that tracking tool every once in a while and track your expenses. Make sure that you are staying where you've set yourself to be. You can make adjustments along the way, but always stick to having a budget. And lastly, one of the most important things is to remember to give yourself time to succeed. It may have taken a while for you to get into debt, or you may have had these habits for many, many years. So give yourself time to form new habits, see success, feel good about the decisions that you're making. It won't happen overnight, just like physical health, but in the end, if you stick to it, you can succeed. So your challenge after this program is to create your own budget. The Federal Trade Commission has a PDF budget you can use, which is what you see here, but Health New England has also created a budget sheet you can download through the link right below this webinar. So you're going to track all the things that we talked about. You're going to track your income, expenses, and then see if you have a surplus or a deficit. Every budget is different with various factors, so yours may not look like someone else that you know, and that's fine. It's not a one-size-fits-all. It's what works for you and your family. I hope you found these tips on building a budget helpful and that you succeed with financial wellness and peace by incorporating them into your life. Remember, you have control of your money. Your money does not have control over you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Health New England at healthydirections@hne.com. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day.